Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll start by saying you've done voiceovers before. What is it about that really appeals to you?
I really love it, and I tell you why, because I think radio is the best medium, because it's about two things. If you're doing comedy on the radio, it's about the script and it's about the performance. You don't have all these considerations you have in television and film, where people are coming in and picking things off your jacket and worried that a dog barked in the background, or coming in and mopping your brow when there's no need because you're not sweating anyway. It's just about the key thing, script, performance, and I love that. Then when you go into a recording studio, the guys there have written the script and produced it, so they know exactly what they want. So they are very, very good early on at making suggestions. Could you do it a bit faster? Would you sound a bit angrier there? Would you sound a little more skeptical there? This kind of thing. And then when they've got all the takes that they want, then they say to you, play. Come up with anything you like. So you might come up with a new line or a rephrasing of an old line, or you might just do one of the scripted lines in a different way, putting a different emotion into it. And then at the end, you've laid down so much stuff, there's no chance that they can really find a bad take, or at least if they find one, they're not going to use it. So the pressure's off. It's very unstressful and fun because there's so much play in it.
I mean, as someone who's so sort of instantly recognisable, I mean, do you find that it's quite fun to kind of hide behind the anonymity that you get in kind of animations?
Well, the extraordinary thing is, I've always thought I had a very plain and not characteristic voice. I thought that it was a very normal voice, and I'm surprised when people have imitated me, because I don't think my voice is very interesting. It's just competent, you know. And so it's surprising to me how often people say, like someone will say, I didn't realize you were in the Shrek movies until I watched one with my son the other day and heard your voice. And I thought, they recognize my voice. I'm surprised by that.
And of course, I mean, much of your work across your career has been very kind of surrealistic, obviously, from the stand-up thing. I was wondering if that's another thing that appeals you to children's animations, because it allows you that kind of license to be very creative.
Yes, that's right. You can do anything you like, and that's one of the reasons I love radio comedy. I mean, I grew up on the Goon Show, and those were my heroes, those three. Spike Milligan, who wrote them all, who was a genius, and Peter Sellers, who was a performing genius, and Harry Seacombe, who was the nicest human being I ever met. And I grew up on those with those people, and I loved everything about the surreal world that they could conjure up, because it was radio.
But it must be really fun as well to play a British character in an American movie that isn't a villain as well.
Yes, that's true. Yes, you're quite right. We usually do get cast as the villains now. Yeah.
And seeing this film is about planes, and as someone who, given your line of work, no doubt travels a lot, have you got any sort of really memorable experiences on a flight? On a flight? God. I don't think so. I think probably what you don't want on any air flight is a memorable experience. You know what I mean? No, I mean, I hate traveling now because they've always... the truth is I hate traveling by plane now because it is so uncomfortable. If you're my height, 6'5", and I'm now 73, so I'm not exactly as elastic as I used to be, then getting into these little planes, seats, they're so small. And what is now called business class was about 30 years ago was how it was economy class. You know, if you were back in coach, you know, your knees are probably resting against the seat in front of you, or possibly about a centimetre from it. It's extraordinary how they've packed in as many seats as they possibly can, because that's money. But at the same time, they've really taken away from you any real comfort if you're my size. So I hate flying. Well, so do I, and I'm 5'9", so I can't imagine.
You hate it too, do you?
Yeah, and I'm 5'9".
What is it that you hate so much? Is the time wasted in the...
It's just, I feel there's lots of other things I could be doing when I'm in...
Oh, absolutely. Because sitting in an airport lounge is like you have all this time on your hands and you can do nothing more constructive than a crossword.
I guess my final question is just, of course, Planes has already got a sequel announced. I'm just wondering if that's something you might be interested in.
Oh, yeah. I like this work better than any other work I do because it's not stressful. It's good fun. You meet nice people because they like playing with these kind of ideas and this kind of humour. So you know what I mean. They're not pompous or stuck up or anything. It's the best work I do. I mean, the the most enjoyable work that I do.
Are you working on anything at the moment?
I'm writing my autobiography, and I'm about to go in a month's time to Canada to do 38 shows, starting in Halifax and finishing in Vancouver. Then I go to Dubai, then I come back for 6 weeks writing my autobiography, and then I'm going to go to Australia for a movie in January. So they keep me moving around.
And lots more flying to do.
Yes, but I almost prefer the long flights, because at least in the long flights you can sort of get settled. You know, the ones that I hate are about an hour and a half, and there isn't really time to get settled, and you're just sitting there feeling uncomfortable. And then there's the delays and getting the bags into the car and getting to the airport, and then there's some problem checking in, or there's someone in front of you who's taking an hour and a quarter to explain his difficulty. You know, I just hate it. You go to the lounge and you sit in the lounge and you have these incomprehensible announcements made by people who have never been taught how to use a microphone, you know. And then you get on the plane, and then you're stuck on the tarmac for another 45 minutes because somebody's found a nut loose, you know, and then you finally drive. Miserable. If I can travel by a car, or if I can travel by train, I do.
On that note, thank you very much.
On that note, grumpy old